Today we want to talk about the difference between a paper notebook, the reMarkable 2, and an iPad. Or you can also replace them with other handwriting tablets, because that's the key here and why this might be an obstacle for many busy professionals out there to get the most out of their productivity system at work and having a high-performing team supporting their work. We will talk about note-taking and what you do with the notes later on, about different information types and a lot more subtleties today that might give you a different perspective on what you're doing on a daily basis when you're taking notes. So let's dive in.
Paperless movement, your productivity, your way.
Okay, here we have a paper notebook, the reMarkable and the iPad. And what do all these have in common? Well, most people love these devices because they can do handwriting for notes. And it's scientifically proven that if you do handwritten notes, you will remember things a lot better than you do typed text. It's also a lot more friendly sitting in a meeting and taking notes on your notebook rather than typing it into a laptop and you're sitting behind a screen. These are all valid points why you could and should use these devices. The thing is, for many it stops there. Either there's just one notebook, everything is collected in here in different folders, or in the iPad as well. If people are using Apple Notes, Notability, Good Notes, there's always a folder structure, or sometimes using tags for organization. But the key understanding that is important for this video today is that let's frame this here. And what I want to point out is that you are here in the personal space. That's your personal work. And I'm not talking about, your journaling or something like that. I'm really talking about work. Okay, so personal work notes. This is what this is all about. So this means you're sitting in a meeting, you're taking notes, somebody comes in, you meet somebody on a floor, they tell you something, you want to scribble things down. All these things make total sense. And people ask me, as I was talking a lot about Apple Notes on this channel as well, Tom, where's Apple Notes now on your ICOR framework? Let's quickly have a look. On our website, there's our ICOR framework, and here you see, I'm not going into detail for the ICOR framework now. However, what you see here is PKM, the Personal Knowledge Management area. And here is Reader, the Read Later app from Readwise, Tana, and Heptabase. But there is no Apple Notes. So what the heck is going on here? And the thing is, we are here in this part of the ICOR framework in a personal space. And here's the business space where you have the BKM, the business knowledge management, and this is the knowledge that is shared with the team. Again, I'm not going too much into detail. Let me know in the comments below if you want to have another video about this. When you scroll down, however, you see now in the utility apps that Apple Notes appears. And I consider Apple Notes as an intermediate note-taking app. So what this means, let's go back to our map. So when I'm using Apple Notes with the iPad, and this applies to any of the other things, even a piece of paper, I'm perfectly able to use a Post-it, take some notes down, and still be efficient. And that's the importance of understanding where is the final destination of my information. Okay, now I just brought in the tools here that I'm using. And we can bring in Apple Notes to this section here. And these are still personal work notes related. Okay. So the key is, Tom, why are you using so many different tools for note taking? Isn't this confusing? No, in fact, it's confusing if I would just use one note taking app. Right now, there is no all-in-one PKM solution. Personal knowledge management solution that can cover all the different areas of a productivity of a personal knowledge management system as we define it in ICOR. So if you watch the PKM like a pro course in your ICOR journey in a membership, then you know that we differentiate between shallow thinking and deep thinking. So this means understanding this, we define already that in our setup, and it might be different for you. That's the beauty about ICOR. It's tool agnostic. It applies to any tools that you have. The only thing that you need to do is give it a definition, what for you're using the tools and what kind of information you're storing in these tools. So Tana and Reader to us are shallow thinking, while Heptabase is deep thinking. And in fact, when it comes to brainstorming, then we can add one more tool to deep thinking, which is Miro, the tool that I'm using in order to show you right now these concepts, okay? So especially when it comes to team brainstorming, we are using Miro a lot, but Heptabase is really for personal deep thinking right now. Also, they're working on a collaboration feature as well. So why do we still have this in place? Some people get the feeling that I'm saying we shouldn't use these at all. It makes no sense. And in fact, they do make sense. I'm not against using a reMarkable. All I'm saying is the reMarkable is much closer to a piece of paper than it is to the digital world where I can leverage digital data. reMarkable not even has a handwriting search, global search feature. Yes, we have handwriting to text conversion in reMarkable, but we don't have a global search. So this means I'm not able to search for keywords and it will find the notes that I have taken. And that's to me the same as in a paper notebook, whereas in a paper notebook, I'm much faster going through the pages than I'm navigating in a reMarkable. That's personal preference. Yes, it's distraction free and all this, but the next step is the iPad, where you have the advantage of a global search, especially with no matter the note-taking apps that you're using right now. Apple Notes is the free native one, but there are many others, and all of them allow you to search for certain keywords and it will find these notes and highlight them. So that makes it much easier to access them. This is especially important when it comes to using these devices as your only PKM. However, I don't care, because I could use even a piece of paper with my whole system. Why? Because I have routines that ensure that I process my information in the right way every day. So I can use any intermediate tool, as I said, even a Post-it, but I need to ensure that there will be a situation on the day where I process this information further into the final destination. So you can consider these two boxes here, the final destinations. The whole thing is the personal work notes. And here, to make the things easier, the final destination. And that's really now the key understanding, you see. Now even that I'm using Apple Notes for quick notes to have frictionless note-taking, I'm able to find any information in the tools that I really use. So this allows me to switch anything here. So let's name them the intermediate note-taking tools. So this means I can interchange these tools. However, I know that I need to process them in here. This means I'm also not worried if I'm losing the paper notebook or if Apple Notes goes away, because I know that all information that is in there is either irrelevant because I just took down a note, like writing down quickly a phone number that I need to call back and then I never use it again. There's no point cluttering up my core systems with information like this. I will use information, I will use tools for this, like the iPad or a piece of paper, right? And I also don't have to think about, okay, where do I write down this phone number now because I have a fancy PKM system? No, it doesn't matter. You just write it down and you forget it. If there is anything going on that you need to process, in Apple Notes at least, I can add a hashtag, even with handwriting, saying inbox. The moment I enter my routine during the day where I process my inboxes, and there are several in different systems that I need to process, then I will go to Apple Notes, search for the hashtag inbox, and then process these notes into the final destinations. This might be also then the action systems. So let's go here, right? In the action systems, we are right now using ClickUp and Todoist. And if there is anything that I scribbled down very quickly in a meeting and I know that's an action point, I will process this into the action system to make it in the core action system. So that's another danger. In Apple Notes, for example, you can create tasks in this. Also in Tana, you can create tasks. Even in Heptabase, you can create tasks. But these tasks are again just intermediate steps before we move them into the action system, the actual project management system. So we always end up with a single source of truth for the specific type of information. So single source of truth might be confusing, as it sounds like there's only one place for everything, but in fact it's several places, several single source of truths for different types of information. A task could be, for example, a single source of truth for itself. So this means when I have a meeting and we talk about a certain task, I could note down quickly something in my intermediate note-taking tool. But then I go back to my desk, open up the core application or the project management tool, and then I update the data inside the task with the new information. So the task itself is always the single source of truth. So whenever I need to work on this task and I go to this task, everything is ready. I don't have to look at different systems and find scattered information. No, everything is already in this task. That's why it's so important to funnel the information into the right directions. Now you could say, well, what about these? If you have a final destination there and there's task relevant stuff, well, you just add the link to the item from Heptabase or from Tana to the task. So therefore you will be always able to open up this additional information in your personal system. Even if you're working with a team, that could be possible. If you make a note, a personal link by me, nobody will be able to enter this information but you. But the moment you need to work on this task, you are instantly at the right systems and you find the relevant information. And I think that's a key misunderstanding, that people think I only need one note-taking app, I need just one project management tool, and it's insane. With our inner circle members especially, who are busy professionals managing several teams, several businesses even, or working in big corporates, there's often a lack of a project management system or a business knowledge management system. So this means each team member having their own personal bubbles where they keep their information enclosed in silos, and then they come together to project meetings where everybody shares their information, they update each other, the project manager tries to make some notes, sends out meeting notes via the email, and this email gets dumped in the archive later on. 2 weeks later you have the same meeting talking about the same things again, people give the updates again. The problem is, especially as a project manager, you never get the bird's eye view on what is going on. By implementing the ICOR methodology in these systems, you enable the whole team to see exactly what needs to be done right now and where's the information that you need in order to get it done. And this is the real efficiency boost. There are so many studies out there showing that most of the day work is work about work, looking for information, asking people for the information, things like that. And what do these people do? They open up their paper notebook, they look into their reMarkable, or they go to their Apple Notes and say, yeah, last week I took these notes about this. Didn't you remember? Well, I wrote up something else in my notebook, and this is the craziness going on when it comes to business. It might be different for students and knowledge workers working on their own, freelancers working for themselves. You might be okay with this, but if you're a busy professional working on several projects a day, and as we do hundreds of tasks per week, then this system will crumble. It's no longer efficient enough to just have a paper notebook or something like that if things are not in order. There might be the situation that you are leading the company, you're a manager, and everything is delegated properly and you're just getting reports from the other team managers telling you updates. That would be the best case situation. So because in this moment, you might just use a paper notebook or a reMarkable or something to write down some personal insights, things like that, but you will never need this to look up what was actually going on in this project, because everything is in a single source of truth. You know what system you could go to in order to see exactly the status of the project and things like that. But this is really rare. That's what we establish in many companies with our ICOR methodology. And this is a real game changer once you get the full picture of how things are working. So if you go, for example, in a PKM like a pro course, we talk about the knowledge management cycle. And in there we cover the discover, capture, process, action, and share steps. And when we talk about the intermediate steps, this is where the random stuff appears and you know exactly where to place this. However, this is a step just before that. You discover something and you cannot quickly access your final PKM because too much friction. Notion is a good example. Heptabase as well. It's very hard to quickly open up the tool. You need to have a device to access it. Maybe it's not mobile friendly. Then you go there. Where do I place this? I have to create something. That's where you have an intermediate tool like a piece of paper, reMarkable, Apple Notes. where you jot this quickly down, and then calmly, when you're back on your desk and you have access to your final destination, final PKM, then you calmly process this information into your PKM. Another advantage is that you are already refining and distilling what you just jot down into the final system, so it's much cleaner in your system. You're not cluttering up the system. You see, there are a lot of subtleties, and if you have specific use cases, share them with us in the comments below. I'm happy to make follow-up videos to discuss specific use cases. And if you really need help with your productivity system, then look no further. Join us in a Paperless Movement membership and go through the ICOR journey and learn everything you need to build your highly efficient productivity system. Or if you really need an instant support, we have the Inner Circle cohort program, where each month 6 people can join our cohort, where Paco, our co-founder and multi-business owner, and me will help you in a total of 15 hours coaching sessions within 1 month, that you will have a highly effective productivity system running. That's our promise, and that's what we have done already several times with many Inner Circle members before you. So thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe also to the YouTube channel so I can catch you up in the next one.